we are riding on Dunlop's new Sportmax Q3 Plus. So this is a new and improved do-it-all-purpose sport tire from Dunlop. Dunlop's really kind of owned this sport tire, street sport tire market here in America for quite some time now, quite some time. They released the qualifier back in the 2000s, and the Q2 in 2009, and the Q3 in 2013, and from the Q2 on, like that tire, the Q2, Q3, these tires are excellent tires. It's been a personal favorite of mine during the course of my career and testing. It's always rated right at the top, and that's just in performance. And then you factor in price. It's always one of the most affordable tires in the category. That usually is a tipping point. Like, this is a good tire for the money. But Dunlop's not resting on its laurels. It wants to push things forward. So for spring 2017, got the Q3 Plus. And we're off. We're off and we're riding. Today I'm riding Honda's 2016 CBR 1000 RR 2016. This isn't the brand new, all new, redesigned CBR 1000 RR. This is the older one, the 2012 generation, or actually 2009 is when it came out. I'm sorry, 2008 is when it came out, and then they tweaked it a little bit in 2012. This is the last year of that bike. So I got it in the MM93 Repsol Honda colorway, and dang, it looks good, man. I love this bike. Yeah, we're just leaving Coda's perimeter infield paddock area, and we're going to go on a nice 150-mile loop around the hills of Austin. Like I said, I've spent thousands of miles on the Q2, thousands of miles on the Q3. I love the tires. As far as bang for the buck, do-it-all sport tire, there is no better. Dunlop leads the class in that. So I'm excited to ride these things, you know, just getting on the bike, leaving here in the parking lot. Right away I can tell the profile. The profile is always, Dunlop has a tendency to make a profile that really enhances the handling of your motorcycle. You know, they're usually kind of tall tires, they're real pointy, and they're really apt to make direction changes. And I like that. I want my bike to be responsive. I want to turn left right away. I want to turn, you know, right away. I want a responsive tire. That's the whole point of riding a sport bike, is to have a machine that is just insanely maneuverable and is an extension of yourself. And that's what these bikes are, these tires are. Usually when you have a real pointy, tall construction, your tire can be a little bit flighty, wiggly like that, but these tires aren't. These tires are the epitome of stability. It's just amazing what Dunlop's been able to do and how stable they've been able to get these tires. It's really impressive. Another cool feature I like about these Sportmax Q3 Pluses is just the warm-up time. Dunlop's, they're a master at getting the rubber composition and rubber mixtures right. And these tires, you know, they heat up so quick. And not only that, they have such a wide operating range. Where you can ride them when the mercury's down, you know, at 40 degrees. You can ride them when it's 115 degrees ambient temperature and the pavement's 160 degrees or more. And the tires take them, you know. You can ride these things on the hottest track day of the year, and there's almost no performance degradation. Usually when a street tire gets real hot at the racetrack, you know, when you're doing a 20-30 minute session back to back, just really putting a lot of heat into that tire, they have a tendency to overheat and get a little greasy. Not these tires. These tires, in my experience, they hold up almost as good as lap 2 to all the way through the span of your track outing, and it's awesome. Makes riding fun. Back in the day, when you were riding a sport bike or a street bike, you kind of needed race tires if you're going to do a track day. Not anymore. Those days are over, and if you want to go to the track and get some and have fun, these Sportmax Q3 Pluses, they will get it done. Well, obviously, if you're going racing and for competition, if you really want to get after it, like just, you know, whack the throttle at apex and just totally just ride like an absolute maniac, Race tires can be better for that, but I'd have no qualms fitting a set of these Sportmax Q3 Pluses on my street or sport bike and doing a track day. The good thing about the tires is you put them on there, and you know you're gonna get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 track days out of it. Kind of depends on what machine you fit them on. If they're on a BMW S1000RR, obviously you're gonna wear them out a little quicker than if you put them on a SV650 Suzuki. But it's just cool to be able to throw on a set of tires, add gas to the bike, and just ride, man. That's what it's about. Just riding, having a good time. So, as you can see right away, very responsive feeling from the tires. They really go where you want. It's pretty nimble. This Honda CBR 1000RR is an exceptionally nimble bike itself. Lightweight, super agile. Tires complement it right now, right away. We haven't really hit any major bumps besides those braking bumps or semi-truck tire bumps leaving the track, you know. But that's another thing I like about these Dunlops is even though Dunlop race tires and high-performance tires always are a little bit more on the sporty, on a little bit more rigid realm of the engineering spectrum, these tires have some give to them. They have some flex. They soak up the bumps well. You know, there probably is a couple competitors in the class that could do it a little bit better in terms of bump absorption, but when you have that kind of softer sidewall and ability to accept a lot of bumps and a lot of move, that sometimes compromises the precision of the tire. And when you're wailing on it, you know, fourth gear, 120 miles per hour, you get maybe a little bit more movement out of the bike, and you usually don't want that movement when you're really going fast. So, you know, but overall, I still have to say Dunlop is onto something. Like the flex characteristics on this tire are definitely good, and I would ride them on a bumpy city street. I'd have no qualms with that at all. So here's our first major turn, and it's good. Really pleased with just that first little right turn. Like, you can feel how responsive this thing turns. Not a lot of effort put through the handlebar, and the bike's just going where you want. And it's kind of ironic, Dunlop wanted to increase the durability and the longevity, so they changed the compounding of the center rubber material. They added some silica to it. Silica basically is sand. It's synthetic sand, and what that does is it gives the tire a little bit more life, a little bit more durability. You know, it also boosts its wet weather performance, gives it a little bit more grip. You know, you got to kind of think of it as almost adding sand to the mixture, so it's more sandpapery. So it's got a little more grip, so it's going to hook up a little bit better in the rainy roads. You know, obviously we haven't had a chance to ride this thing in the wet, but you know, I've spent some good time on the Q3 predecessor 4 years ago at the Huntsville Proving Grounds in Alabama, and Dunlop, they fully soaked the track. They hosed it down for us, and I couldn't believe how much grip those tires had on a wet road. You know, I didn't get my knee down by any means, but you know, I didn't want to have any problems. I probably could have, but I could definitely ride the bike pretty hard. You know, the most important thing is just being smooth. So finally, some curvy pavement to try out the power and the handling of the CBR 1000RR and these Dunlop Sportmax Q3 Plus tires. And yeah, these handling of these Sportmax Q3 Pluses is quite good. You know, of course, my initial thoughts are just how stable they are. These tires don't move. They feel real firm. You know, they have a rigid feel to them. Dunlop Sportmax race tires over the years have mimicked that feel, just that rigid carcass. You know, it's the kind of tire that has a lot of bite. You can apply the brake very heavily with some lean when you load the tire up, and it doesn't flex. It doesn't overly flex. It just puts all of that force through the tire carcass, through the rubber compound, and into the pavement. It actually almost rewards, you know, I'm not going to say hard charging riding, it's always good to be smooth, but it rewards putting a lot of load through the tires. When you do that, you're gonna really notice some great response from these things. Another cool feature of these tires is, you know, we're speaking of load, but you know, we're in second gear and we're pinning it. Just all that power goes right into the pavement, you know, it just allows you just to ride fast and really exploit the engine performance and the acceleration of these bikes like Honda CBR 1000 RR. Back at Circuit of the Americas, riding after a nice street bike ride on the Sportmax Q3 Plus. There's not a whole lot of curvy road here in Texas. We got a lot more of that good stuff in Oregon and California, but still it was a good ride. It's good to feel the performance of the Q3 Plus, and to be honest with you, it's not a whole lot different than its predecessor, especially on the street. But now we're here inside the circuit, and we're going to spend the last 90 minutes putting in some laps on the road course after the AMA guys shut down here at 5 p.m. So put some more miles on the track where we can really, you know, whale and up the speeds and up the lean angles and up to everything. And excited to see how these bad boys do out on the road race track.
Dunlop was kind enough to let us spend about 60 minutes on the track at the tail end of the AMA tire test here at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. As usual, what a tire. As far as bang for the buck, do-it-all sport bike tire, you really simply can't go wrong with Dunlop Sportmax Q3 Plus. I mean, it heats up fast, it's got tons of grip, you know, the carcass is a lot more rigid than comparable tires in the class, and it's definitely a different direction compared to the competition. You know, Dunlop's been renowned for their stiff carcasses in their racing and a rigid tire that really allows you to extort the full handling performance of your motorcycle. It's the tire that you can use a lot of brake, you know, when you're entering a corner. You can use a lot of throttle exiting a corner and really mash that tire. And it doesn't fold, doesn't flex excessively. And once again, all those properties are alive and well in the Sportmax Q3 Plus. You know, Dunlop was kind enough to let us ride the old Q3 versus the Q3 Plus. And to be honest, I couldn't really tell a difference between the two tires, but that's not a bad thing at all. The Q3 Sportmax tire was already one of my personal favorites. If Dunlop actually got a little bit more longevity, a little bit more durability out of the thing, so you can ride this thing for maybe, you know, 2 seasons instead of just 1, I think it's gonna be a home run hit. And kudos to Dunlop for continuing to evolve the tire and make a better product, even though they're already on top.